I'm Trizzy.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Ticket to Anywhere podcast, bringing you the gear, tools, and tips to equip you for a travel-filled life.
No matter your travel experience or lack thereof, we aim to be your first stop when you're thinking of where to go, how to get there, what to bring, and what to do.
Catch the latest episode every other Wednesday on YouTube or your favorite listening app.
We'd love to connect with you. Find Ticket to Anywhere on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, and LinkedIn.
This episode is about my trip to Egypt, and thank you for letting me talk your ears off about
your dream trip. We had to.
Yeah. So check. Basically, what I talked about was all the things that I packed, all the pre-planning that I did, and what to expect when you're on land. I hope that encouraged you guys to put Egypt on your list. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have told me that they never had it under their radar or on their radar. Right. And they now want to go because I talk about how Egypt is not just a desert. There's beachside to Egypt, and there's salt lakes in Egypt. Like one of the few salt lakes that you could actually float in, which is
people
in
wouldn't
Siwa.
know this.
Yeah. So please enjoy the episode. I appreciate you guys who has been following my stories, just like coming up or sliding into my DMs with questions and just compliments about how I've changed their mind about Egypt. So appreciate it. And there is a big coffee and tea culture in Egypt.
There is. Yeah, actually I'm drinking coffee right now that Trizzy brought me back from her favorite part of Egypt, which you'll hear a lot about in the episode. It's called Siwa. So this is Siwan or coffee from Siwa. Yeah, it's really delicious.
Yeah.
Yep.
My tea I got up in here is Siwan tea, and I had that in the desert of Siwa.
Under the stars,
which is amazing. And basically Siwan tea is like lemongrass tea. You could put sugar in it, or you don't have to put sugar in it. So
love it. I'm glad you liked it. You brought a lot home, obviously.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You know it.
Yeah.
So please enjoy this episode. And
we wouldn't be able to do this without the love and help and support of each and every one of you in this Ticket to Anywhere community. And you know that every share, every like, every comment, every subscribe means a lot to us. And even any $1 or $2 donation, it helps us to keep creating fun and super helpful travel content for you. Content just like what's in this episode. So if you want to support us further, literally even a $1 donation, you can head to buymeacoffee.com/ticket to anywhere. And in this episode, as you'll hear, there are some links that we're going to drop in the show notes for products that we use, we love, we trust, and we may get a small commission through them if you buy direct through us. So once again, we thank you so much for your support and contributions that way. And cheers to Egypt.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
Safety Wing is the world's first international travel medical insurance. You can sign up even if your trip is already happening, or sign up in advance by selecting a future start date. For only $42 per 4 weeks, you can be covered under Safety Wing and its Nomad insurance. Click the link in our description for more info and to sign up. Safe travels! All right, y'all. I am so excited to talk about this dream trip that happened for me. I got the chance to go to Egypt in November. A lot of tears were shed.
Happy tears.
Happy tears. Very happy tears. So on land, I spent about 14 days. So we landed on a Saturday.
On land? How many days did you spend in the air and in the ocean?
Oh my gosh, you don't even want to know.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a 40-hour travel day, basically. But so 14 days, 6 accommodations. The budget was not that bad because we used points for one-way flight on Qatar going to Cairo. So it came out to be about $3,700 per person.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you can imagine, if we didn't use any points, Qatar one way was pretty expensive at that time because November, which is the month that I went, is high season in Egypt. So it easily could have been about like $5,000 per person.
Yeah.
So the breakdown of my itinerary was I started off in Luxor, 2 nights, and then 3 nights on the Nile cruise going from Luxor to Aswan. 1 night in Aswan, 2 nights in Marsa Alam, and 2 nights in Giza, 2 nights in Siwa, 1 day trip to Alexandria, and 1 more day in Giza. So
I also didn't think Luxor was a real place. I thought it was just the hotel in Vegas. So now we know, confirmed, it's a real place in Egypt.
And you know what sucks? In Luxor, Egypt, not Luxor Hotel. In Luxor, Egypt, there's no pyramids there. So
that is like...
That made me mad because realizing Luxor in Vegas, they should have just called it Giza or something.
Taking the piss with like decorating however they want. Jeez, lies.
Seriously, man. But we're gonna jump into like the gear, all the documents that I brought, medicine, packing as well, all the tech that I brought. Fun stuff. So
gotta be prepared.
Yeah, exactly.
For the dream trip. This is what we're doing. We're explaining what Trizzy brought on her dream trip.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah. I was very nervous. I was a nervous wreck during the planning process. You know, I created a checklist of everything that I needed to do, which I would probably share.
Why were you so nervous?
I was nervous because it's like, you know, this is the place that I've been wanting to go to.
Okay.
And
you put a lot of unnecessary pressure on yourself.
Yeah. But the weird thing is, on the day of we were heading to the airport, I had no flight anxiety at all. I think
you're just dead inside by that point.
Maybe I was just like, let's just please get this over with.
Dang!
And then when I got there, still no anxiety, and I was just going with the flow, and everything turned out so amazingly. Yeah. So I hope you all get that same experience too. Get all the anxiety pre-trip, and then when you're there, it's like
maybe you were exhausted of being anxious.
Maybe.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
I get that when I'm just like tired of being so worried that I'm like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. That happens. So the documents to consider about bringing there is just making copies of the important ones, which is your passport and the visas. It's $25 to get an Egyptian visa, and I believe it's a 30-day visa.
You have to do it online beforehand?
You have to do it online because it's just easier that way.
Oh, okay. So different from Bali where it's visa on arrival.
It's better to get your visa beforehand because when you're going through customs, you just have everything ready for you.
Okay.
The application process was like 5-day turnaround.
Jeez.
And make sure if you have a middle name on your passport, that goes in the field of first names.
Yeah.
I didn't really know that. Luckily, I don't have a middle name.
Oh.
They will flag you.
Yeah, for sure.
And
really good tip.
Yeah. Flights, hotels, tour confirmations, bring those on. It's sad that you have to print it on paper because it's a lot. It's a lot of paper to use. You don't have to, but it's like, it's a safe way because maybe in the Philippines, I've had this experience.
Okay.
They ask for your flight going there. Like, even if you're leaving, they'll be like, can I see your flight coming into the country?
What?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it has happened to me.
Are you being
to the point
targeted?
That's how I always feel like.
I've never, that's like.
I always feel like I'm targeted. I always get some sort of unluckiness to it. But I'm still very grateful that I'm travel privileged. So yeah, just bring copies of everything in case you lose it. The medicine that I brought. Dramamine is very key, not just because of the flight, but in Egypt, we did a lot of traveling via with the driver.
Like vans. Yeah.
And the Nile cruise. So these long rides, the roads aren't fully developed sometimes. You know, you get like potholes, all the bumpies, a little bit swerves and stuff like that. So Dramamine helps in that case.
That's good. I thought it was only for seasickness, but okay.
I mean, if you're going on the Nile cruise
like
too, that'd be perfect. Motion sickness as well.
Motion sickness. Okay.
It'll just knock you out. But there are non-drowsy ones, which is just basically like powdered ginger in a tablet. Another thing that I brought that helps a lot are those like menthol oil rollers. It's just menthol is key to everything. Nausea, any itchiness if you get bug bites, any aches and pains. It's like relieving and cooling. So I packed those with me. Emergency vitamin C packets and liquid IV. In Egypt, we were always on the go. So those were very important for us to have. the weather, because it was in November, it was cold at night. So you just have to like stay protected that you don't get sick and stuff. So vitamin C helped.
Yeah.
So what I packed as far as clothing goes, it's a Muslim country. So I had to dress modestly. And that was pretty easy. Because imagine if I were to go to Egypt during the summer and I had to dress modestly. I feel as though it would be more of a problem for me because the suffocation, the heat, you know, I wore a lot of t-shirts covering the shoulders, covering the knees as well. And I brought workout clothes because that's what I like to do. I'm a techie person, so all the tech that I brought...
It's like a bag just of tech, I'm sure.
Basically.
Camera gear and whatnot, right?
So for sure, my iPhone, for sure my camera, and be aware that if you have a mirrorless or a DSLR camera with a mic on top or on a gimbal, some temples may charge you extra for a camera fee. And for me, I didn't get charged because I didn't put my mic on. I didn't have a gimbal. Everything was like freehanded. So keep that in mind.
That's a good point.
They scan your bag when you go into the temples. So if you're trying to get away with hiding your gimbal, hiding your mic, I would say just leave all those behind if you don't want to get charged. Yeah.
Well, it was like when we went to Chichen Itza, they charged for our GoPros.
Yeah.
Like $1.
A GoPro too.
It was like almost $3 actually. Yeah. It was kind of crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
I brought a zoom lens and I brought my fixed lens too, just because in the temples, if you're up close, you want like a wide angle of it. The zoom lens will be great if you want it. If you're on the Nile cruise and you see a structure from afar, you want to zoom in on it. So I did bring 2 lenses, and that's something new that I started doing this year. I hate it. I don't like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you use both of them?
I did use I ended up using both of them, but it's just...
And you just like it because it's heavy?
No, it's just I don't want to have to like change. Yeah. And I don't want to have to worry about another piece of gadget that
might get lost or break as something like that. Okay.
Yeah. I brought extra camera battery as well. That is key. It's a no drone zone in Egypt, so don't even dare bring in your drones. There's somebody who...
Will they like confiscate them if you try to bring it in?
No, they would hold it and you have to pay. You have to pay for them to store it.
So they'll hold it for ransom.
Exactly. At the airport. And then when you're leaving, you could get it back. But I heard that process is really annoying. And you probably have to show up to the airport more hours than...
I also don't trust nobody. I wouldn't want to leave my drone anywhere.
So instead of that, I brought my Insta360, which has it like about a 3 feet selfie stick. And it worked perfectly because one of my videos, Leah thought I had a drone.
I did think she had a drone. And this was your first trip second trip with the
It's my second trip with my Insta360.
Okay, but if you check out Trizzy on the gram, her Insta360 footage is just elite.
So I love it. Yeah, I love it. Good. I think it's a great alternative for a drone. You could even get the 6 feet selfie stick if you want. But I feel like that's pretty obnoxious just to have like a long ass stick walking.
Don't bring your 6 feet selfie sticks around Trizzy. So she'll call you obnoxious.
Watch me have it though. Watch me get it in the future.
She will. I
feel like I will. I also brought my dive case because believe it or not, there are some snorkeling spots in Egypt that you guys would really, really, really love to check out. Brought like a mini tripod, my laptop, of course, with hard drives just in case I need to dump any footage. Extra memory cards. If I get lazy to dump footage, I could just switch out the memory cards.
Yeah, for sure.
And a tip that I would have consider is you guys should think about getting pocket Wi-Fi. And I have T-Mobile, so I usually don't have to buy a SIM card. But in Egypt, I felt like I wish I did because the reception was a little bit bad. The Wi-Fi at most of the hotels we stayed at was kind of crappy.
You should take a page out of my book. Come get Wi-Fi wherever you go if you're there for a few weeks.
Yes,
It's usually cheaper though to literally change your SIM card out in the country you're going to.
Yeah.
And just get a temporary plan for a couple weeks.
That's true. Yeah.
It's usually cheaper because T-Mobile's like $10 extra a day or something.
No, it's part of my plan.
Oh,
that's why I'm like, I'll just.
But then it didn't work. So.
Yeah. It worked okay. It just didn't work as well as it did in like Philippines or
Vietnam. Really?
Yeah, it's so weird. A lot of common reaction that I got when I posted about my snorkeling spot. People are like, "What? Egypt has that?" And so, yes, Egypt has has beaches. It's the Red Sea that you could snorkel in. So I packed snorkel gear.
Moses.
I brought my snorkeling gear, my fins, and my dive case for my Insta360. And that usually takes up a lot of space.
Because tell the people what kind of snorkeling gear you have.
It's basically the size of my face.
It's those bubble masks.
Yeah. It covers your whole face, so you could just breathe easier. You don't have to like control, your nose and your
breathe
mouth.
into a hole.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've never done that one. I've always just had like the full
It's a little
face.
claustrophobic. because when I was snorkeling in Bali, like the piece can come detached from the snorkel. And then your goggles might not seal all the way. Gosh. It's just crappy snorkel gear.
Yeah.
Also, people have gotten, this is where you will love bringing your own snorkel gear in handy. People have gotten diseases from other using reused snorkel gear.
Yeah. It just
which scares
disgusting.
the crap out of me.
I don't care if they say they clean it thoroughly.
Which they don't say it, and they definitely don't do it.
I'm not about that.
They just dunk it back in the ocean, rinse.
They're like, it's salt water.
Yeah,
okay.
it'll kill it. So maybe be like Trizzy and bring your own snorkel bubble face case.
Yeah, exactly. We'll have the fins and the snorkel face gear in the description for you guys. So one of the stops we made was in Siwa. Siwa Oasis is like a desert. And because it was November, I have to reiterate that. Nighttime is chilly. So we had to bring hot hands, which we used in Finland and in our camping trips. It was probably like 30, 40 degrees at nighttime. And we camped out in the desert. So hot hands were clutch. And I highly suggest that you guys consider bringing that.
Yeah.
And old shoes that you don't really care about because when you're in Siwa, it's going to be a lot of desert and sand going inside your shoes to the point where it's just going to be just full of sand. So I brought like old running shoes that I was about to donate here.
Okay.
So I brought it, and then by the time Siwa was done, or the trip was done, I just left it there.
Oh wow!
Like,
okay.
I don't need it anymore.
Okay.
We didn't anticipate how cold it was gonna be, so just prepare to bring a lot of warmer clothing.
What did the temps drop? Well, in the desert at night, what did they drop down to?
30 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah.
That's literally freezing.
Yeah, it's cold.
Like water freezes at 32 degrees.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Luckily, it didn't have like a wind. Like there was no breeze, no nothing. Okay. It was just cold. If there was wind, that would have hurt me.
Did you have extra, like when you were on tours and with tour guides, did they have like extra blankets to put over you? Or
I mean, no. They didn't have no extra blankets for us. It's just really.
So did you feel that you were like prepared with?
We were okay. We did all right, but we could have been warmer.
I would not have been prepared for that. I would have brought my Uniqlo light down, ultra light down.
Yeah, ultra light down. That
down
like
in light keyword.
Ultra light down. Okay, now we're gonna jump into how I planned all the pre-planning, and like I mentioned before, it was a lot of anxiety, to the point where usually I don't go to people, as my first stop, but I did it with Egypt because there's just so many like voices in my head after hearing tons of stories, the good, the bad, and me just trying to make it perfection, which nothing is perfect. So I did go to two people in our travel community. Shout out Denise and shout out Jana. It's Denise Cass, and Jana is Wonder Woman Travel, so please give them a follow. But ultimately, I had in my mind like a vision of how everything would work. I just had like them as kind of like a mini support system. Yeah.
For sure.
Since we flew with Qatar Airlines going to Cairo, they required, just the airlines itself required you to have like a signed an acknowledgement form, had all the paperwork set. They didn't even check it. It's not needed. So I don't know if it's just like
annoying.
Old information that they didn't remove. even Egypt, the country, required a health questionnaire for you to fill out. They didn't check on that. They didn't ask me for it. I just did it just in case.
Yeah, of course.
And it doesn't, it's like zero energy, zero effort to do that.
Yeah.
But upon check-in, they asked if we were vaccinated. We said yes. They didn't check. Some of the blogs and the forums that I used, they always had like the first stop in Cairo. And for me, I felt that it didn't make sense to start in Cairo because that's where I was going to leave from. So that's why I worked kind of like a U shape, like an oval. So I started in Luxor, worked all the way down south to Aswan, to the Red Sea to Marsa, then back to like Cairo, Giza area. That was just how I did it. But feel free to start in Cairo because, I mean, everywhere is just fascinating.
Yeah.
But these blogs and these forums are still great resources to use. Third Eye Traveler, her itinerary was great. It helped me it inspired me a little bit to start my itinerary. Like really get the courage to start planning. And of course, the Nomadic Network. Yeah, I came across one of their blogs about like best tour companies in Egypt.
Oh, yeah, that's really good. That's cool.
So that was a good one to check out.
I did not influence her. If you know me well, you know I'm a chapter leader for the Los Angeles chapter of the Nomadic Network, but it was started by Nomadic Matt, and you know, he always gives great travel advice and resources. So that's really cool that you found.
I found a blog
and I was
post. Like, okay, this is a trusted source, so I'm gonna check it out.
Absolutely.
TripAdvisor as well. The forums they helped me. I always tend to do that with all my trips. So finding hotels, I had a very unique experience in Aswan where I stayed on a houseboat. And people were like, "How did you find this?"
Right.
And it's basically just typing in Aswan, Egypt on Google Maps and then just zooming in and scrolling through the city to find something that catches your attention.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that's what we did. And we found Anacob houseboat in Aswan. And it was in a key location where the Nile cruise docked in the same docking.
Wow. Were you looking for accommodation in the river?
No. Well,
just popped up on Google Maps.
Exactly. Well, one of the other things was I saw a Movenpick hotel in the same island as Anacob. And I was like, oh, I recognize that name.
Yeah, I think I saw them in Bali too.
So I was like, oh, I like familiarity. So I looked them up. Movenpick was super expensive. And then I figured there has to be something special about this mini island in Aswan. So that's when I zoomed in more. We saw Anacob, like a houseboat. So boom, it was just perfect.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it there. I've also looked on Orbitz to book my hotels in Giza, and I booked the houseboat on Orbitz. And of course, I get cash back through Rakuten. And I probably throughout this trip so far, I've made about $20 cash back.
Nice.
On it. Yeah. Luxor and Marsa was Hilton. The Luxor Hilton is very popular in searches. So that's like one of the first things that will pop up. I recommend them. They had a daily spa that was available.
Nice.
And it was apparently free. I don't know if it was just for us.
Nice.
But I was like, okay.
Yeah, don't ask questions.
That. Yeah.
Why are you asking questions? Why do you care?
Just walk.
Just use it, yeah.
The Marsa Alam Hilton is all inclusive.
Nice.
And it was dirt cheap. We paid about maybe like $170 after taxes and fees.
Yeah, that's
for
good.
An all-inclusive beachfront. So pre-arranged transfers and tours, that for me is key. I think being in Egypt, I learned that you don't really have to pre-arrange things because you could always book a tour with the hotel you're staying at, or you could easily go on like get your guide on the day prior and book something. But for me, I just need it right away. I just need to know it's confirmed. I need emails sent to me. So I prearranged everything as far as like transfers and tours. My flight from Cairo to Luxor was via Egypt Air. Cairo is the hub. So if you want to do Aswan first, if you want to do Marsa Alam first, you could fly straight from Cairo to those other mini cities. I would suggest if you're booking on Egypt Air to use the Mozilla Firefox browser.
Does that still exist?
Yeah, it does, surprisingly. It's more compatible with their system that they have, I noticed.
Wow.
Because I was booking on Chrome and Safari. And there was always some sort of issues or the fields were like messed up. And I wanted to get a refund on one of my flights. And it wasn't working on Google Chrome. It wasn't working on Safari. And I was like, I'm going to try Mozilla Firefox. And it went through.
Okay.
So just FYI, Egypt Air is kind of... Don't even try calling them because they're not going to pick up, by the way. For sure. When you're arranging drivers and far tours, such as going to Abu Simbel or going to Siwa Oasis, you're going to be asked for copies of your passport. And for me, I was a little bit scared. I was like, why is this company asking for my passport? I asked a few travel communities.
You've never been asked for your passport anywhere else ever?
No, like in Thailand, I don't think.
Did you go on any tours?
Mr. J. Yeah, we drove 3 hours to Chiang Rai.
With who?
With Mr. J.
But is he like a? But he was
He's
like
a local.
Yeah, not like a official tour company.
I
That's
see.
a company.
Oh, interesting.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Machu Picchu, we had to give our passports.
Yeah.
Big Dream Boatman had to give our passports in the Philippines.
Yeah, I don't know. They never really asked.
Real, like, organized tours with companies.
Well, some of the tours that I booked on Get Your Guide and Viator, they asked, and I felt safe with that. But this was like direct contact with a representative from the driving company. And yeah, I was just like skeptical because it was new to me. Seriously, never really been asked. And people were just saying like, oh, they just need it because there's a lot of checkpoints within Egypt. Like if you're going for a 3-hour drive, a 9-hour drive, there's several military checkpoints and they're going to ask for your passports and everything. So do not be alarmed for any first-time travelers or first-time travelers going to Egypt. Don't be alarmed that you're asked for your copy of your passport, but make sure it's a trusted source. One of the drivers that I used, and I highly recommend if you're going to the Aswan, Marsa area, they're called Steven's Taxi. Great communication, great responsiveness as far as keeping you updated as your pickup is getting closer and closer. So highly recommend them. I'll drop their info in the description as well. Now Cruise had to book prior, but if y'all have been following me, you know my little debacle situation with that. We won't get into it. I don't want to relive that moment. And I would say check with your hotels to see what their prices are too for hotel shuttles. We took a few hotel shuttles just because of access, like easy access of reaching out to them. And some notable tour companies I would suggest for you guys in each of the cities that we went to. If you're going to Siwa from Giza area, Touritos is the company, Touritos, kind of like Doritos. They'll give you a bag of Doritos as well. I love them. Alexandria, our day trip there, we used iegypt. Like I said before, Get Your Guide and Viator. They're all booking platforms that has trusted tour companies on there. And if anything happens, you could cancel within like 24 hours, which is pretty cool.
So nice.
Yeah. And our tour guide / photographer in Cairo or Giza was Hossam. I found him on Airbnb, but please hit him up directly on Instagram because Airbnb will take a fee. And I feel as though if I had found him earlier on Instagram, I would have directly hit him up instead of going through Airbnb experiences. Yeah. His handle is Hossam Artistic, Hossam, and he does Cairo, Giza, and Alexandria area as well.
She'll link it in the show notes.
Yeah, for sure. Part of the pre-planning, safety weighing, travel insurance. Can't stress enough about that. Thanks to Leah pushing me on that. I did fall during my sandboarding excursions.
So, yeah, she had a pretty funny story about.
I need that.
And luckily she didn't have to make a claim.
Yeah, no.
But
I gotta do that.
I don't know. If you don't have insurance, maybe you shouldn't be traveling, right?
Definitely.
Like, do you remember how much you paid?
Yeah, I only paid $32 for 2 weeks.
See?
Yeah. And if you're doing like 4 weeks, it's $42. So it's $42 per 4 weeks.
Yeah. But if you fall and actually broke something, God forbid, but you need to make a claim on the insurance. So good thing you had it.
Yeah. All right. So now we're shifting to when you're there in Egypt. And I have a few things that I was very considerate about. Muslim country, dress modestly, cover the shoulders, cover the knees. Even my workout clothes I brought was sweatpants and t-shirts. And if you know me, I usually work out in a tank top or sports bra with shorts. Like that doesn't cover the knees. So even with that, little gesture is fine. But if you're on a resort, I believe it's okay, because I saw people showing their shoulders and knees at the gym and stuff like that. So I was just playing it safe. There is a language barrier. They speak Arabic there. That's their main language. But they also speak English too. Basically, everybody that we encountered, they spoke English. So it's fine. Learn a few phrases. I got you. Thank you is shokran. And hello is ahlan. And believe it or not, fun fact, in high school, I took Arabic for maybe about like 2 years. But now I forgot.
And all she learned was hello and thank you.
Yeah.
No,
I actually know how to say, I want to eat an apple.
Wait, please say it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Ana e'ekulu tufa.
Yum.
That's a very useful phrase.
I've been saying that all over Egypt.
I probably butchered all the pronunciation of it. And I probably said some like curse word or something. The last thing to be considerate about, guys, girls, couples, straight, gay couples, don't matter. Please keep it in your pants until you get to your own room, all right? Don't hold hands. Don't be PDA.
No PDA.
Yeah. They don't want to see it. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
The most difficult part of the cultural difference was the disrespect towards the women. And take it from me, I had such an annoying experience with a taxi driver. He told us that he could take us to the Karnak temple round trip. We exchanged WhatsApp information because when we were done with the Karnak temple, he'll come wrap around, come pick us up in the front. So on the drive back to the cruise ship, he was just asking us like, oh, if we're single, and us being LGBT couple, we didn't want to express that in Egypt because unfortunately it's a crime to be gay in Egypt. So we just said, yeah, we're single. And he was like, I don't understand how you guys are single. You're so beautiful. And we were like, okay, he's just being nice. But during the trip, during the ride, it just kept building and building to a more uncomfortable level. And I was like, I'm not going to tip this guy.
Yeah.
So
and tip is never compulsory. It's never mandatory. Yeah. It's always optional.
For sure. So I just gave him whatever the fee we agreed on. And he said, no tip, no tip. You're making me feel like a woman.
Oh.
And I just had to.
My God.
I had to.
I'd be like, hold me back. Hold me back.
Hold me back.
Hold me back. What does that even mean?
I don't know. Like in that culture, I don't think I even want to know.
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
It hurt so much of my spirit to just like have that directed.
Was he... Okay, I'm going to sound ageist saying this, but was he older?
Yes, he was older.
So,
yes.
Maybe it's not ageism. Maybe it's just the truth.
True, but that's what I encountered, unfortunately. But
that's horrible.
Yeah.
And it's the different cultural differences are like worlds away.
Yeah, for sure.
What a bummer.
Yeah.
Hopefully no one else experiences that when on your visit.
But that's one of the things where it deters a lot of people from going to Egypt. It's like the harassment. And I get it. I see it. Like, I'm not going to say it's not safe. I'm not going to say you're not going to get harassed. Right. Because it happened to us. But for the most part, if you're very alert, you're very diligent, you would be okay. And you're going to have a fantastic time. Seriously. Like, other than that, we were just having the time of our lives. Yeah. We didn't let that. But even though I had to, you know, crack a little knuckles here and there, hold me back a little bit. FYI, guys, there's indoor smoking all over Egypt.
I just feel like we went back 50 years.
It was crazy. We were just in like a gas station and then people were just smoking. And the gas station was tiny. It was like a mini mart. So it's just like when we went in there to use the restroom, which, by the way, is usually like 5 Egyptian pounds to use a restroom. Yeah.
Wait, how much is that in US?
It's really cheap. It's probably like 1 penny or like...
Oh, that's not, I think we were going to say like $1. I'm like, I don't even know if I pay $1 to use the restroom.
It's like dirt cheap, which is fine.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, indoor smoking in the gas station. It was just all over our clothes, which sucks. But that's what you have to expect. The tipping culture is expected. Like what happened in with the taxi driver, he expected.
It's expected, but it's not mandatory. You're not breaking the law if you don't tip.
For sure.
That's just my opinion, and I stand strong by my tipping opinion.
I love it. Yeah. I appreciate that. That's good mentality.
I mean, fight me in the DMs. People will too, but if you don't deserve a tip, I ain't giving you a tip.
Ooh, that could be another end of the year controversial
100.
topic.
100. I literally left a 10% tip the other day in the United States of America. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Tipping is not mandatory. You're not breaking any laws if you don't tip.
For sure. Definitely. But if you do want to tip, contribute to like a great tour guide, great tour leaders, taxi drivers that don't harass you, bring lots of small bills. And they actually prefer you pay them in USD.
Oh, I had strong opinions about this too.
Yeah.
I had strong opinions about giving them USD also.
Yeah. Let's hear it.
Well, the reason I go to certain countries is because my dollar goes further. And I understand the dollar may weigh more in Egypt, but like I already converted all my money. I'm not converting it back to USD for you. Right. I'm giving it to you in your local currency. And Trizzy did a poll on this on her Instagram. And I was like the only one that answered like that.
I mean, but that's understandable too. Like, I get it. You go to another country to make your dollar stretch and stuff like that. So,
and if I'm going to give you 10% of this tip in the Egyptian currency, that's what it's going to be. Yeah. I'm not giving you like an equivalent of 10% if this was converted to USD. Yeah, no, thank you. No.
Yeah. But I mean, the dollar was really strong at that time. So
yeah.
I feel as though I would be okay if the dollar was strong.
You're a little bit of a nicer person. You're a nicer person than I am, it seems. You're a more generous person,
I don't want to see my other side. So military presence around Egypt, it is a normal thing. Do not be startled or alarmed by it. I was kind of freaked out at first. Long car rides, there are a lot of checkpoints. So you'll see them around. And they carry like large guns and they ride around in tanks. Like it's a normal thing.
It's like Central America. There's a lot of military presence too.
Oh, okay.
It's just used to
so
it.
I gotta mentally prepare myself for that too. So my itinerary was great. I recommend you guys doing that type of layout. However, the only thing I would change and probably push on is maybe doing the Nile cruise from Aswan to Luxor. There's more dates, more cruises there, so you'll be able. It seems more flexible.
Because what did you do?
Because I did Luxor to Aswan.
Okay, so you recommend doing it the reverse way.
Exactly.
Okay.
And there are flights from Cairo to Aswan, so it's not too much to think of. And with the temples and the pyramids, I read in a lot of forums and a lot of blogs is that you need to have a tour guide. From experience, from going there, I think you're okay going without a tour guide. But, the pros of having a tour guide is you get crazy amount of history information from them, and you could have your questions answered right away. I noticed that some of the older tour guides we had, they're all about just giving you information and moving on to the next one. The younger one that we had gave us a little bit time to, do our content, take photos, help us take photos and videos, and not really press on moving to the next spot. So it's a little bit more flexible without a tour guide, I would say. And I noticed a lot of tour guides were mostly males. We only had one female tour guide, and she was amazing. We had a boss-ass female tour guide in Alexandria. She's been doing it for like 20 years, and she's also a university instructor and Egyptologist as well. So gangster.
I wonder if that's a safety thing.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't want to be alone with tourists. Why not? Just like how female Uber drivers Don't drive after dark.
Right.
Or some of them don't. I know a lot that don't.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if you are interested in going to Egypt, there are many other female tour guides that you could book. And I noticed that on Airbnb experiences. And even if you Google on Instagram, there are a few that popped up as well. I would say if you're planning to do Siwa Oasis, the private tour that we had with Touritos was so worth it. It was very expensive. It was about $500 per person, but it included a round trip, which was a 9-hour ride.
Wow.
Each way. It included amazing local meals that you probably won't even find on your own. And the desert camp, that they put us in was just magical. Yeah, everything was just very convenient with Touritos and highly recommend it. Also, if you are going to Siwa, what we did was we booked a cheap hotel that had an amazing pyramid view, and it was still cheap. It ended up to be like $60 a night for like a whole week. And in the middle, that's when we went to Siwa. So we basically had our luggage stored there. So we would come back, have a place to stay, don't have to worry about lugging our luggage to the desert and rechecking in to another hotel. So highly recommend doing that. In Siwa, that culture over there, by the way, Siwa was like my favorite city.
Why?
Because the culture was so laid back. They were so sweet, so nice. Vendors, if you go into any of the shops to buy some souvenirs, they don't bother you. If anything, they leave the store for you to have your moment. And then if you have questions, you go find them. If you want to buy, you go find them.
Yeah.
And it's so much cheaper than buying souvenirs in Cairo. Their local language is called Amazi. I hope I pronounced that right. But they also speak Arabic as well. Transportation, they use Uber. They use taxis.
Uber in Egypt?
Yeah, we didn't use it, but I heard it was really, really cheap too. There's also taxi options, but with that, you have to negotiate, and you really have to make sure that what you guys negotiated is still going to be the price that when you arrive at your destination, it's still going to be that price. When you're in the Giza pyramids, the pyramids of Giza, there's a part where if you want to see the whole 9 pyramids that's located there, they're going to tell you that you need to get a camel to ride all the way through the other side of the desert. We didn't do that. We opted out. The camels didn't really look healthy to us. Edfu, they have horse carriages and tuk-tuks. So if you're doing the Nile cruise and you're getting off, you have to take either horse carriage or a tuk-tuk. I would recommend tuk-tuk for obvious reasons. You just want to not be a part of the potential abuse of the animals. The tuk-tuk was fun though, so go with that.
There we go.
And now the food part. The food was cheap all around. Every places that we went to, their veggies were so fresh. Best tomatoes I've eaten. Cucumbers were amazing. Had the best texture of crunch into it. Olives were just bomb.
Vegetarian options?
Yeah.
Okay.
Very much. Yeah. Speaking of vegetarian, the kushri that we had was basically a carb central dish. It was rice, lentils, like some sort of pasta in there, vermicelli noodles, all in one. With a little tomato sauce thrown on the side. But it was amazing with fried onions on the top. If you're eating outside, it's dirt cheap, basically. In Giza, I had a fried chicken because I was craving super fried chicken. Had Crispies. We went to Crispies. My meal was probably like just $2. So some of the places that I would go back to in Egypt that I missed out on are Saqqara, which is like the Dozier Pyramid, the Step Pyramid. That one is the oldest pyramid in Egypt.
Wow.
Like older than the pyramids of Giza. Old Cairo, didn't get a chance to go there. The National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. I heard that museum is way better than the main Egyptian museum itself. The Citadel of Cairo, I heard it. I mean, I saw pictures and I saw it from afar heading back to the airport. And I was like, damn, I wish I checked that place out. But always next time, always a reason to go back.
Yeah, definitely.
If you want more Red Sea, which I do, I would check out Hurghada and Sharm el Sheikh. Those are a lot of beach towns too. Great snorkeling as well. They may be more touristy and more things to do than Marsa Alam. Marsa Alam was very quiet, like no surroundings, no outside restaurants around. And I would stay in Aswan longer. I only had one night basically. Originally 2 nights, but it didn't work out. And I would probably spend most of my time in Siwa, just like chilling with the locals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I want to do.
Most of your time there.
But yeah, that was my dream trip, Egypt, and it was amazing. There's so much more to say. I don't know, just DM me if y'all got any questions. I could go on and on about the experience that I had. But thanks for listening. There are some items in this episode we may get a small commission from if you buy through our direct links. It helps us to keep creating fun and super helpful travel content for you.
We wouldn't be anywhere without the support you've given us, and for that, we're always appreciative. To support the podcast even further with just a $2 donation, head to buymeacoffee.com/ticket to anywhere.
To be the first to get our episodes, subscribe to Ticket to Anywhere on YouTube.
Share this episode with a friend if you found it helpful.
If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Listen to Ticket to Anywhere wherever you get your podcasts.